besties? Hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Alanna. We are going to be going over my April reading wrap-up today. We're going to go over the 11 books that I read in April. I probably counted that wrong because why wouldn't I? But we are going to go over those books today. I do not have a few of them physically. One of them my friend is borrowing, but the other ones were done on audiobook or Kindle, so I do not have a picture, like a book to hold up, but I will put a picture in the area so that you're able to see which book I'm talking about. The first book that I read in April, which I actually started on the last day of March, but read most of it on the first day or two of April, was Heavenly Bodies by Armani Eru. I gave this 4.75 stars. I absolutely loved the celestial themes in this, and I really enjoyed the banter between Alara and Enzo. I'm very excited to see where this goes from where it ended off. Like, it ended off on quite the cliffhanger, but we are basically following, this isn't a world that is ruled by stars, and Alara has been cursed by fate. A prophecy promises she will fall for a star, but that it will kill them both. So when Aracia, Star of Wrath and War, ascends to wreak havoc on Alara's kingdom of night, she flees her home only to be captured by the neighboring Helos kingdom of light, and falls straight into the arms of an enemy prince. Fearing that Fearing that Ariete might turn his sights to Helios next, Prince Lorenzo is forced to train Alara as a weapon, one worthy of battling against the tyrannical reign of the stars. But there are shadows even within the kingdom of light, and they threaten to reveal the darkness in Lorenzo's past and the ancient magic that slumbers in Alara's veins. And with it all comes an undeniable star-crossed pull between Alara and Lorenzo that neither can seem to resist. I really loved this. I'm very excited to see where it goes, but this was the first book that we read, and it was a 4.75 star. I also read this for a book club this month, or in April, so that was very exciting. Well, it was actually a March book club, but we didn't have our chat about it until a couple days into April, so I ended up being able to take a little bit longer to read it, but I really, really loved this. Okay, my loves, the next book that we picked up is Mind Games by Nora Roberts. I did loan this to a friend to read, so I do not have the physical copy here with me, but I will put a picture up right here for you. This book is following Thea and her brother, who every summer, at the very beginning of summer, like the first 2 weeks of summer, they go to visit their grandmother in Appalachia, while their parents get some much needed alone time for a couple weeks. They love going to see Grandma. They get to help around her little farm and with her business that she has and all this fun stuff. Well, while they're there, it's like a week after they've been there, and their dog gets to come with them. Like, their parents bring their dog in them and drop them off with Grandma. And about a week in, Thea wakes up from a dream where her parents are killed. And she just knows that it's real. She feels like it's real. She wakes up and she goes in to see her grandma and sees that her grandmother is crying in her room, and then she knows that it happened. She goes in and she tells her grandma, and they call for a welfare check, essentially, where the cops in their state go to see and check on her parents, and it is found out that they are in fact dead, that her and her grandmother both kind of saw it. And Thea can see a lot more than her grandmother. So she saw basically the whole thing happen. She saw who did it. She saw how he got in, how he did it, and all that stuff. But this basically follows Thea through her childhood, the rest of her childhood and high school, and then you see her go through college, and then you see her in her adult life. She ends up, their grandmother takes, her brother's name is Remington. They both ended up staying with their grandmother. She had guardianship, and they go off to college, and they come back, and they split the cost of this piece of land near her that backs up to like her grandmother's property, and they both bought half of it so that they could each build houses on it. And we follow Thea as she falls in love, but it's just such a great story. I really, really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved the writing style. It was easy to read, and it had me hooked, like, I want to say a few chapters in, I started to get really invested in it. The connection between Thea and Riggs was very interesting, and it was very wild to see the kinds of things that they could do within each other's minds. And Bunk, who is a dog, was my favorite character. He was so cute. He's Thea's dog, like, in her adult life, and I adore him so much. It's not even fair. I wish that Bunk was also my dog. I love my little Koopy Poopy, but I would really love to have Bunk as a dog as well because he was just fantastic. So that was the second book that we read in April. The third book that we read, which I also don't have physical, I read it on Kindle, is Insatiable by Lee Rivers. I ate this book up, 4.5 stars. I was as addicted to this book as Kate is to drugs, and I couldn't put it down. I loved it so much. You're not going to get too many thoughts on Insatiable, and you won't see anything before this video about it, because I am doing a reading vlog of the series for that book. So that will be coming, I think, sometime this month. I think I put it on the calendar for May. So we will get to see my full thoughts on that, and because I did record stuff for it, but then I decided I wanted to read the full series, so I'm going to do a series vlog for that. But this book made me feel every emotion in the book. Kate is fantastic. Stacy is, I feel like she can be super relatable and also, like, tough to understand. But I really enjoyed it. It was very, very, it was quite dark, and it was very spicy, and I'm very excited to see where the story goes. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed that one. That was our third book. Our fourth book that we read was The Haunting by Natasha Preston. I really liked it. I liked this book a lot. It was going to be like a 4-star. And then I got to the end, and it ended in a terrible spot. I don't actually know who's alive, who's dead, what's going on. It ended where there could have been, like, if you just gave me an epilogue. One more chapter. Literally everything could have been wrapped up in one more chapter, and it left off on it's literally a cliffhanger. Like, you don't actually know. Like, you think some people are dead, but you don't know for sure if they are. You don't know for sure if people who were injured are going to make it. Like, you literally have no idea what happened at the end of this. It just ends. Like, the last word in this book is bang. And that's it. That's it. So I really liked it. I loved the idea. I loved the story. I loved the plot. The only thing that made this book not great for me was the ending. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed that because this book basically follows Penelope, kind of trying to forget about her ex named Nash. They were dating a year prior, and it was found out around Halloween that his dad, Penny's boyfriend's dad, was a serial killer. He basically went on a killing spree in the week leading up to Halloween, and he got caught. He killed 2 people on, like, Hallows Eve, and was caught in the early mornings of Halloween. And this book is about a year later. We're about to go into the Halloween season, and it seems that there's a copycat. A student in the first little bit ends up dropping dead, and it's done in the same way as Nash's father, but his father's away, locked up in a federal prison, like, he can't get out. So it's basically Penny trying to get through this and kind of reliving the horror in her town that was last year, and finding out all the truths and things that did and did not actually happen. And she is seeing, throughout this whole story, she is seeing somebody who is dressed like Nash's father, like, dressed in the same getup that Nash's father wore when he was taking people out. And it shows, like, her reconnecting with Nash and kind of getting a little bit of a reconnection with Nash's older sister, Grace. And throughout this whole thing, everybody thinks that Nash is involved, that Nash is the one who is taking after his father and going out and killing people. Like, they think that the kids have something to do with it. And it's about Penny kind of trying to help clear their names and be like, no, it wasn't them. They didn't do this. Because she doesn't believe anywhere that Nash or Grace would ever be able to do this. But I really did like it. I ate it up literally until the ending. I was like sucked in so bad that I got to the last page and I read it. And it literally says, bang, acknowledgements. And I didn't even realize that page said acknowledgements. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my... Are you kidding me? I stayed up to finish this book, and my fiance was asleep next to me, and I went, what? And then I laid there and stewed about it for like a half an hour, because I was so angry that it ended where it did. But I did really like it, and I do really like Natasha Preston. Her book, The Lake, I read like years ago, and I loved it. I am very much one of those people who likes... like summer camp vibes, like spooky summer camp vibes, summer camp mysteries, thrillers, and The Lake is that, and I really enjoyed that. So I was very excited to read more of her stuff, and I am going to still read more of her books, but this one just really, really got to me. The fifth book that we read was Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I actually listened to this on audiobook, so I will put a picture here for you. I gave it 3.25 stars. It was a very quick and easy read. I enjoyed the plots and the plot and the twists. I listened to it on audio, and the audiobook was really, really good. I really enjoyed it. I don't fully remember. Let me pull up Goodreads and look up Never Lie and give you a little synopsis, because I don't fully remember which one that is. Oh, this follows, This follows Trisha and Ethan, and they are newlyweds that are searching for their home that they want to purchase. And when they visit this remote manor that once belonged to Dr. Adrian Hale, a renowned psychiatrist who vanished without a trace 4 years earlier, a violent winter storm traps them at the estate. With no chance of escape until the blizzard comes to an end, in search of a book to keep her entertained until the snow abates, Trisha happens upon a secret room, one that contains audio transcripts from every single patient Dr. Hale has ever interviewed. As Trisha listens to the cassette tapes, she learns about the terrifying chain of events leading up to Dr. Hale's mysterious disappearance. Trisha plays the tapes one by one late into the night. With each one, another shocking piece of the puzzle falls into place, and Dr. Adrian Hale's web of lies slowly unravels. And then Trisha reaches the final cassette, the one that reveals the entire horrifying truth. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of twists and things that I did not see coming, and I thought the story was done well. Thought it was a very good thriller. I really enjoy Frida McFadden's books. I have read a few of them now, and I really like them. I do have the Housemaid series that I have to read, and I have The Crash that I want to read. I've heard a lot of mixed feelings on The Crash, though, so I'm kind of scared to read it because I don't want to dislike it. But I really don't often have a lot of problems with books like that. I always feel like I rate pretty well. Like, I don't really ever rate under 3 stars, which is crazy to me because I see people giving 2 and 1 stars left, right, and center. But I just really go based on how a book makes me feel, and like maybe there's some books, like there's some coming up here that I gave 5 stars that maybe people wouldn't necessarily give 5 stars, and I just loved them. They made me feel good. They made me giggle and kick my feet. So yeah, I read Never Lie, and then we moved on to, again, I don't have it, The X-Vows. I also listened to that on audio. It was a Libby loan, and it was about to run out of time, so I listened to it, and I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. I just loved it. I loved it so much. It felt like something that people would actually be going through. The MMC was really relatable. I binged this in one day. I absolutely ate it up. I am brain farting on... So this book, basically the little... Yeah. So this follows estranged exes, Georgia and Eli, who they are going to be co best people in their friend Adam's wedding. He has gotten engaged, and they are going to be the best woman and best man in his wedding, his people standing for him. And they all were friends growing up. She and Adam were best friends, and then Eli moved to their school, and they kind of took him in, and they all became really, really good friends. At some point, Georgia and Eli ended up dating. They got really serious. They moved to New York together, and he really focused so much on his job that it ruined their relationship. Like she never really saw him. She would ask him to come to work events and parties and stuff with her, and he just was always busy and couldn't go. So she stopped inviting him to things, and then the breaking point was she invited him to go to this dinner function thing for her work. He said he'd go, and then he never showed up. He showed up at like 10:30. She already had gone home, and he got home, and she was packing her stuff and basically told him she was done, like she couldn't live like this anymore, she couldn't do it. And she moved back, or she moved away out of their apartment that they shared. Well, as they're leading up to this wedding, they're supposed to be spending like 10 days together in the lead up for the few days before the wedding, and that like the week leading up to the wedding, and then obviously the wedding weekend. And everything for this wedding starts falling apart. But basically, they are sent to this vineyard because Adam's wedding venue like had to cancel on them at the last minute. There was a flood or something, and the whole venue was destroyed. Or it was a fire. So his family, they originally wanted to have their wedding at his family's vineyard, but weren't able to because they were doing renovations and stuff. Well, it's at the point where the outdoor ceremony area is fine. It's just the indoor area that they can't really use right now. So Georgia and Eli go and try to get this wedding back on track and try to figure out all the things that need to be done and do all these things last minute. And it's kind of about them reconnecting and like being super irritated with each other, but also reconnecting in the place where they spent so much time as kids. Like they would always go there with Adam as kids. Like it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I know second chance romances can be kind of but I thought this one was done really well. I haven't really read a lot of second chance romances, but I did really enjoy this one. So that got 5 stars. I ate it up. I absolutely adored it. The next book that we picked up was Quicksilver by Callie Hart. 5 stars. My best friend, Allie, recommended this to me. I had tried to read it a while back, and I got like 2-3 chapters in, and I think I was just in a slump, because I usually am not the person who's not in the mood for a romantasy. I love fantasy. I love romantasy. So when I started reading this and I couldn't get myself to get into it, I got a little bit bummed. So I stopped reading it because I didn't want to force myself to read something that I wasn't in the mood for and then end up hating it when it was probably going to be a book that I would love. Like, I figured that I was going to really love this book, and I didn't want to do it the disservice of reading it at a time that I wasn't in the mood to read it and then ruining the experience of reading this book. Kingfisher can get it. I love him. He makes you sweat and drool and all kinds of good stuff. I don't really love his name, but I love him. Saris is a badass. I absolutely love her. I think she is so strong and so... I feel like she's just really true to herself, I guess. And I really, really loved her. Danya sucks. Can't stand her. 10 out of 10 could do without her in this book. She irritated me beyond belief, and I just wanted to smack her upside her head. I couldn't deal with it. She just was privileged and pouty and rude, and nope, don't want it. The setting and the story of this was so good. It was so interesting. It was twisty, and it left off on a cliffhanger, and I cannot wait until November when this comes out. I absolutely ate this up, and I cannot wait to see what happens. I finished it and I texted my best friend and it literally said, "What the F word," in 3 different all capital lettered messages, because I needed more and I couldn't have more until November. So I'm very excited for November and I really adore this cover. I like this cover so much better than this one. But yeah, so this one was given 5 stars as well. The next book that we picked up was The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren, which, stupid of me, I didn't know Christina Lauren was 2 different people until I read it. I thought it was one person. I didn't know it was 2 best friends who wrote books together. But I gave this 4.5 stars. Liam is as much of a masterpiece as Anna's work, her art. I adored them. It was very funny and sweet and aggravating, and it just really made you go on a roller coaster of emotions, but I adored it. I can't stand Liam's parents. They piss me off beyond belief. Some of the relationships I really, really loved, and others I wanted to just burn to the ground. I could have done without them. And the scale on rating characters in this book: Jake, Charlie, Liam, and Anna, 10 out of 10. Adored them, loved them. And one of Liam's brothers, Alex, his wife, I forget her name, but I really liked her as well. But the scale did not go low enough for me to rate Paul, which is Liam's father. I hated that man. The pits of hell are not a low enough rating for him. It actually is a disservice to hell to have him there. But I couldn't stand him. I hated him. This book basically follows Anna and Liam, who met in college. She was best friends with his brother Jake, and he introduced them because she was looking for housing because her 2 roommates graduated when she was a sophomore. So she had to find housing for the next 2 years, and Liam also was looking for housing, and they were able to get this well-priced housing through the school if you were married. So they got married to get a place to live. They basically lived together as just roommates. They really didn't talk much. They didn't get in each other's ways. They were great roommates. Didn't really know each other. And they had said that when they graduated, they would sign divorce papers and they'd go on their merry way. Well, the papers that she signed actually held that they were married for 5 years total, so they were to be married for 3 more years after the graduation, because in order for him to get his inheritance from his grandfather, he had to be happily married for 5 years. So they're coming up, it's like 4 months until the 5 years are up, and his little sister Charlie is getting married, Charlotte. And his parents basically say, "You need to bring your wife to this wedding. We've never met her. We've never seen her. We've never seen you together. And we are going to believe that it's not real if you do not bring her to this wedding." So he goes and he finds Anna, who is a struggling artist, just kind of getting by. She just got fired from her job, like not even an artist job. She was working overnights at a gas station, essentially. And he basically says, "I will pay for everything. Come to this wedding with me." And tells her all about the clause and his inheritance and all this stuff. He's like, "I need you to come with me to get my inheritance. I need to prove to my family that we are married," and all this stuff. And he'll pay for all the clothes she needs, everything she needs to bring. And she says yes, and she goes, and it's like a 2-week-long affair that this whole wedding takes place. And it's basically them actually starting to feel things for each other. And they've been married for 2 years already, and nobody knows that everybody thinks they've actually been married living together. So they are pretending that they are super close and that they know each other really well and that they've been living together all this time, when in reality they haven't. And it's just a really, really good story. I really liked it. I'm very excited to read more from Christina Lauren. I thought this was such a wonderful read. I loved the setting. I loved the descriptiveness of everything she described when it came to the setting. I thought some of the relationships were really great and fun. Others were just, like I said, I wanted to burn them to the ground and not look back. But I really liked it. The next book that we picked up was The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. I really liked this as well. I gave it 3 stars. it had multiple point of views and multiple timelines, which I did enjoy, but it could be a little bit hard to keep up with everything. And I did like it, but it didn't have me like fully sucked in the way the Paradise Problem, the X-Files, and all that stuff did. I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like a love or hate. I it was just kind of there. I would recommend it. It's a good book, but it's not something that I'm gonna like obsess over, like Quicksilver and the X-Files. I enjoyed how twisty it was. I thought the plot of this was very interesting. This basically follows, oh my god, Bella. This follows multiple people. This is like multiple POV, so it's Bella, Eddie, Francesca, and like a detective later on. And it follows at the opening weekend of this place called the Manor. It's going to be like this luxury resort place for really rich people. It's like a couple thousand a night for a room. And it's the opening weekend, and they brought in some people to get the word out, like influencers who are always posting things on their phones and stuff like that. And something happens during the first weekend where you, at the beginning of the book, you kind of see these people down in, like, on the water, because, like, the manor's up on, like, this cliff, essentially, and there's water down below, and there's these people out fishing, and they see that the place is completely lit on fire. Like, the whole place is up in flames. And it's just super twisty, and it was interesting, and you follow, all the characters are connected somehow, but you don't really realize until it's shown to you. But I really liked it. I'm excited to read more by Lucy Foley. I do have, I think, 1 or 2 more of her books in my physical TBR, so I'm very excited to read more by her because I did really like her writing style, but it was just a little bit of a lot for me, so we'll have to see if something else drags me in a bit more. And then I read Say You'll Remember Me. I read it in a day. I ate it up. 5 stars. I absolutely adored it. It was my first Abby Jimenez book. Will not be my last. The banter and the jokes were a 10 out of 10. The romance was a 20 out of 10. It was such a relatable love story, and it really spoke to how long-distance relationships work, and that even though your relationship could be absolutely amazing and everything that you need, that being in those long-distance relationships is so difficult, and you just feel so alone. And even if you're talking and stuff, it's like you don't get that physical connection, and you don't get to see them every day, and you kind of have to wait for each other's schedules to work out, especially when you're in different time zones. And that's what you see throughout this, but I think that they were just so sweet together. Xavier is a top-tier book boyfriend. I absolutely adore him. I would die for that man. Fantastic. I would also very much die for my fiance, but as far as book boyfriends go, Zayden, Zayden, Rhysand, Kingfisher, Xavier. I love them. Oh, and Rowan. Rowan and Dorian. I love them. I love them so much. But I thought the dementia plot was shown in a very good way. I thought it was gripping, and I was giggling and kicking my feet the entire time. Like, literally from chapter 2, I was hooked. I couldn't stop. I read, like, the whole thing, basically. I read probably a fourth of it. No, that's not true. I read, like, 40% one day, and then I read 60% the next day. But it was, like, an evening and then through the morning. And I loved it. I cannot wait to read more Abby Jimenez. Like, I love her writing style. I thought she was so funny. It was just really, really a good book, and I absolutely loved it. And then the last book that we read in April, which it is April 30th when I'm recording this, I did today finish Under Lock and Key by Lana Ferguson. I really liked this as well. I gave it 3.5 stars. I didn't love it or hate it. I thought it was fun. I thought the plot was very interesting. I thought it was a really cool concept. I was not expecting the curse slash lore behind this. I thought it was just going to be like a Scottish kind of love story, and it was, but I wasn't expecting the curse. I'm not mad about the curse. I'm not mad about it. I just really wasn't expecting it. It took me a bit off guard. But I still really enjoyed the book. I loved that their connection, even though they like really hated each other and their families are supposed to hate each other. And watching him realize that she's not like her ancestors, and even her grandmother and grandfather aren't like his ancestor, like their ancestors. Because their families have bad blood between them. So I thought this was really fun. I loved the way that she showed the relationship between Kiana and her family. Like, they haven't seen her. And her father dies, so she comes back to Scotland because he asked her right before he died to take him home. So she brings his ashes back to dump in the loch because he would always tell her the story about the time that he fell in the loch and was saved by the Loch Ness Monster. And so she takes his ashes back to dump in the loch, and that's when she meets Lachlan, who's walking down the beach and basically tells her it's private property, she cannot be there, it's dangerous to be there. And he like grabs her right before she's about to fall in because she was walking out on these stones out into the water to dump his ashes, and she almost falls in, and he grabs her and pulls her back, and he's like kind of a jerk. And he finds out later why she was there. He didn't know why she was there or ask why, but I just thought it was so interesting and fun. Pardon me, apparently I needed to yawn. But yeah, I really liked it. You kind of see her come back to Scotland, and her grandparents didn't really know her at all. They knew of her, but didn't know anything about her or have met her or anything. And she knocks on their door, and her grandmother is very cold to her at first. Like, she lets her in, lets her stay, but is very cold to her because her son left and went to America because he met this American woman and they moved to the US, and she's just kind of shut down because Kiana looks so much like her father that it just brings up all these bad memories. And her grandfather immediately loves her. Her and her cousin hit it off pretty quickly. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really, really liked it. And I'm going to be excited to read more of Alanna Ferguson's books as well, because her name is also very close to mine. Alanna and Lana. It's great. But yeah, so those are all the books that I read in April. I'm very excited. I've already made my May TBR, which is up before this video, so if you have not seen that yet and you're interested in what we're going to be reading this month, please go take a look. I would really love to hear from you guys. If you've read any of these, let me know what you've thought. If you haven't, let me know if there's any that you're going to pick up. If you've made it this far in this video, post a butterfly emoji for Quicksilver. And I hope you guys stay happy, healthy, and safe. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I really, really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys the next time that I see you. Bye!